Alright, so this is the review of PlayStation 4. Well, I'm going to talk. I'm going to talk a bit about its design first. Um, this is this is a very unique design for a console to begin with. This is an amazing, a very unexpected design coming out of Sony. The looks and the feel, is remarkable. This is a really solid piece of hardware, and the design has Sony written all over it. This is jet black electronic, very typical of Sony, and surprisingly, it is a parallelogram. And for a console, this is a first time. This is a very unique setup, and to fit in all the graphic card, the circuit boards, the disk drive, the ports, everything else in such a compact package is no less an achievement. So this is the PlayStation 4, the 6th generation console from Sony, and it has some pretty impressive specs. To begin with, it comes with a standard Blu-ray drive, and that is a slide-in model. It's not a tray model, it's a slide-in model, and it's very neatly fit right in between the two sections of the parallelogram. So it's almost invisible. And also on the front side, you'll be able to see two standard USB ports. And these are standard USB ports. They are used for charging your DualShock 4 controller, and you can also use it for mobile charging, by the way. It does not support USB at present, but Sony has promised to look into it and will probably provide MP3 and video playback at a later stage. And for a first-timer, it is difficult to understand how do you turn this thing on or off, because so on top of it, right in between these two sections, the glossy one and the matte one, is the power button. And similarly, on the lower section of the parallelogram, there's this eject button for the drive. So yes, almost invisible. You have to read the manual to understand where the buttons are. So on the sides, it's fairly standard. It's nothing but the air vents for blowing out the air or taking it in. And Sony has kept everything very simple on the rear as well. It comes with minimum ports, nothing fancy. It has a standard auxiliary port. Let me just try to focus on it a little bit. Yeah, it comes with a standard auxiliary port, a LAN port, and HDMI output as the only output, no more component output, and a standard optical audio along with the power jack. Also built-in Wi-Fi, so if you want to connect your PS4 to your router without cables, you can use the built-in Wi-Fi antenna. The backside is very simple, plain, with Sony markings and everything, nothing else. And on the top side, it's actually divided into two sections. One part is glossy, this one, on the left side, and about 2/3 of it is matte. And I think the matte side is hosting most of the electronic components, including the graphic card. The glossy side is actually detachable, and it's actually hosting a user replaceable hard drive. In terms of specification, it has a very rock solid specs. It comes with standard with an 8-core APU powered by AMD Jaguar cores. And it's not a standard CPU. It's actually an accelerated processing unit, by which it means that it has both the GPU and the CPU built on the same die. So it's cheaper to produce and has some technological advantage over placing both of these critical components separately. Other than that, it has about an equivalent of HD 7870 graphic card from AMD based upon next-gen core architecture, and it can deliver about 176 gigabit per second data transfer rate at its peak, which is a very impressive number and can only be achieved with very expensive graphic cards. So yeah, this is a very impressive system for $400 only. If you would go about trying to make make something similar in terms of PC components, you'd probably end up spending at least twice as much, and you will not be able to get performance anywhere near, because consoles are essentially computers specifically designed to deliver superior gaming experience. I wouldn't say that this is powerful than the most powerful of the computers out there, but this is fairly powerful package for $400. And before I dive into more details about the operating system and some of its many features, let's just take a look at the DualShock 4 controller over here. And if you ask me, this is by far the most amazing improvement that I've seen, over the previous generation. The DualShock 4 is in every bit better than the DualShock 3. It is a little bit bigger and it's a little bit heavier, and has a more robust finish to it. It's not toyish anymore, and it fits beautifully in the hands. If you're wondering what this pad, this is actually a touchpad very similar to the ones you usually find on laptop computers, I haven't seen much use of it in the games at present. There are a couple of things that you can have it activated. It has a tactile feel to it, and it actually has, it has a button feeling. You can use it as a button as well. And some of the features are actually tied to it, but I have yet to see a more, a better, fuller integration of the touchpad in the games that I have. So the rest of the model is pretty straightforward and simple. The only disappointment that I've noticed about is the battery life. The battery life of DualShock 4 is significantly reduced in comparison with the DualShock 3. And it's good for a session, but if you happen to be a hardcore gamer, someone who plays games a lot, someone like me, then you probably need to have this thing hooked up with one of the USB ports more often than not. So yes, a massive improvement over the previous generation, and a more fuller experience. When you play with it, you could definitely hold this thing a lot longer than you would want to hold a DualShock 3. So yeah, folks, this is the PlayStation 4, the latest iteration of console from Sony, a beast of a console, and in the later part, I'm going to show you some of the features of its operating system, which is called Orbis. It's actually an iteration of Linux. It has a fairly light footprint. It's not a very heavy operating system. That means that the most of the juice, most of the computing power is reserved for gaming and gaming alone. This has a huge library of games at present, because it's only, the console this generation is only about a year and a half, 2 years old, but now they have come up with a decent library. So yes, it's a wonderful choice, especially if you compare it with the Xbox One, which is a bit of a letdown from Microsoft, because it's a little bit of less powerful. I haven't experienced it myself, but in terms of direct specs comparison, yes, it is significantly less powerful than the PlayStation 4. Similar titles are running on lower resolution on Xbox One, and most of the titles coming on PlayStation 4 are nothing short of 1080p, spectacular graphics if you have a HD TV installed. So yes, in the second part, I'll be showing you more options and features about its operating system and some of the gaming reviews. Thank you. All right. So this is the second part of my video review of PlayStation 4. And in this section, I wanted to show you a couple of things about its software features. But before we head over to the software feature, there were two things that I wanted to mention about the hardware, from hardware aspect as well. That first thing is that the PlayStation 4 supports dual voltage. So yes, it supports both 110 and 220 volts. So you don't have to worry about that if you've bought it from Japan, or if it's a Korean model or an American model, that you would not be able to run it in Pakistan. It supports dual voltage, and you don't have to worry about it. It will automatically adapt to the available voltage to it. And second thing is that unlike PlayStation 3, this new version of PlayStation 4 is not region locked, and there's no region restriction. All region discs will work with all region PlayStations, but there is a slight complication. That, for example, if you bought a Blu-ray game from Europe and you're playing it on the Asia version PlayStation, it will work. But it's possible that you might face some issues with the downloadable content only. Some publishers might restrict downloadable contents based upon region. But I personally believe that this is not going to be much of an issue for anybody. So yes, feel free to buy any version, any region PlayStation without much thinking about it. So yeah, without further ado, let's take it to the to the TV now, and discuss I'll talk about a couple of the software features. So here, you're actually looking at my favorite game, GTA 5, a top title for PlayStation 5. Like I said before, that there aren't many blockbuster titles available for PlayStation 5. I'm sorry, PlayStation 4 at the moment. But GTA 5, Grand Theft Auto 5, is a blockbuster title and one of the best offerings on the platform. GTA 5 looks awesome, and it's a perfect game to show the graphical progress of the PlayStation 4. It fully utilizes the 8 gigabyte memory of the system, and you can clearly see that the entire world is much more alive than it is on the PlayStation 3 version. So yes, with PlayStation 4, everything looks realistic. The graphics are amazing. This one is actually running at 1080p Full HD at 30 frames per second. And this is an amazing game. I mean, I would certainly want to show you how beautiful the weather looks, apart from the ladies, of course. Yeah, the water effect looks really, really wonderful, and it shows that how powerful the system really is and what it is capable of. The water effect, in fact, looks very realistic, and it's mind-blowing. So yeah, so without further ado, let me just take you to the home screen, and it takes you just a press of a button, a single second, to take you back to the dashboard. This is the standard dashboard for PlayStation 4, and all of your softwares and games are arranged in a horizontal row. This is not a very intuitive way to arrange all of your software, because let's say if you have about 100 of them installed, so to jumble up everything in one single row is not very intuitive, and certainly isn't the best way to arrange all of your software. Anyway, it's at least an upgrade, a step ahead, and a step above from PlayStation 3 crossbar menu, because it was convoluted, it was confusing, and I never liked it. And remnants of the crossbar are still there in terms of settings and extra settings of the system. Here it is. Everything is neatly laid out over here. There are a lot of settings. They aren't very, intuitively set over here. You have to explore to fully understand which option resides where. But yeah, at least they're pretty much categorized. So if you would do a little bit of searching, you would be able to find everything. Other than that, the whole system is very snappy thanks to the 8 cores at work and 8 GB of memory. If you come back on the dashboard, you do not have to load the game again. Simply require a press of a PS button on your controller, and it will take you back to the game. And I'm sorry about it will take you back to the game. So it would not take long. It takes only a second for you to hop in and hop back onto your dashboard with a single press of a button. So this is very snappy, and this is very smooth, and overall a wonderful experience. One of the things that I really loved about PlayStation 4 is that your ability to divert your audio output from your DualShock 4 controller. There isn't much light over here, but there's a stereo output from your controller, and you can use your standard headset or headphones with the controller, and the audio output will start coming out of your headphones instead of the TV speakers, which is a mighty plus if you want to do your gaming without having to have anybody disturb. And you can use any standard stereo headphones or earphones with the PlayStation 4 DualShock 4 controller. So yeah, this is an amazing plus, amazing feature of the PlayStation 4. Other than that, one thing to you really notice and talk about is the system's ability to share video. For example, if you come across a very interesting point in the game, or make something or do something really horrible that you really want to share with your friends. So yeah, the system by default automatically is recording last 15 minutes of your video within the system. So if at any point in time you want to share that amazing moment with any of your friends, all you need to do is to press the share button on your controller, DualShock 4 controller, and there you go. You can upload your video to YouTube channel or to your Facebook. And for example, if I want to share this this brawl with this guy, I think I killed him. Yeah, if I want to share this moment with my friends, all I need to do is to press the share button. Sorry, it's not visible because of the lighting, but yeah, if you press the share button, and you can upload the video to Facebook and YouTube. So yeah, it's a very handy feature, something I really loved about it. Other than that, you can also take screenshots and upload to Facebook. So this is really good. Other than that, a huge plus from the previous generation is also the rearrangement of the PlayStation Store. Everything this time is neatly organized. And the whole store is very intuitively designed. Everything is neatly categorized, and it's easy to browse and easy to purchase your games. Although I do not prefer buying the soft copy online version only, because then you have limitations that you cannot trade it off with another game. It's your property for life. So unless, of course, the Sony is running a massive sale or a huge bargain is available, I usually stick with buying the physical discs. So yeah, this is PlayStation 4, my personal review of the system. It's a remarkable system. The system from build point of view is built really solid. It has some really good specs and a decent library of games available. An ideal setup for someone who wants to do some serious gaming and have fun without having to worry about constantly upgrading your hardware and software. So this is my review of PlayStation 4. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to comment below if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer. Thank you very much, and don't forget to like. Goodbye.